And I'm Matthew.
And we're breaking down, we're doing something really exciting, especially for me, because I'm a big fan of this idea. Before we get into the main meat of the show, just one quick piece of DC news to cover. DC Comics released some of their Hispanic Heritage Month variant covers, and they're really, excuse my language, they're really fucking racist. So fuck you, DC, and fuck you, Warner Brothers, and anyone who signed off on this.
Yes. That is. Look, I may have mentioned it before. I'm half Mexican, and I'm not
Didn't
saying
know that.
Yeah, I'm half Mexican, which is why the Roca connection is so strong.
Yeah.
And like, I think I said it to you. It was like, is this real?
Yeah. This can't be real. There's no way.
There's no way they brown faced some of their characters and then gave them Mexican food as a heritage month. That I just don't understand. So yes.
We have Kyle Rayner holding a grocery bag full of tamales in space, holding a Green Lantern flag that says Viva Mexico, which
is an homage to some other thing that I've never heard of. So that's supposed to make it okay.
Yeah. We've also got, and I can't place her name. It's one of the female Green Lanterns who's also Hispanic, and she's got a bunch of beat down dudes, and she's eating what I think is a burrito.
Yes.
We've got,
as we often do, because when I whip somebody's butt, the next thing I do is eat a burrito.
Yeah, we've got Jaime the Blue Beetle, just jumping off a building, eating, I think, is a bunch of tacos in his hand. Just literally got just a metric fuck ton of tacos in his hands. And then we've got, I guess that's Hawkgirl, is that they're doing, and she's Hawkgirl isn't even doing anything superhero. She is like working at a Mexican restaurant with the apron and everything, serving at a place called Platanitos Fritos Cafeteria, and is serving a bunch of Mexican food to people. Just wow.
See, and I want the voice actress for Hawkgirl for the show was of Latino descent. I want her to comment on this, because this is just unfucking believable. Like, it's just like yeah. I think I tweeted DC the other day of like, what in the fuck were you guys thinking?
Yeah. Who signed off on this?
Yeah. And one of my buddies, Black African American, whatever you want to say, he's like, I'm just letting, he like tweeted or said something to DC about like, I'm just letting you guys know, you pull any of this crap, for Black History Month, I'm fighting everybody.
Yeah. I remember you tagged me in a tweet that was like, imagine if like for Juneteenth they showed Jon Stewart eating watermelon and fried chicken, drinking great, grape drink, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, it's just racist. It's not racist. Even like, and I as a comedian, I'm one of those, I'm like, okay, is it racist or is it just funny? No, this is just racist.
Yes. The only thing this kind of makes me remember, and this is so off the beaten path, but I have to tell the story because it's hilarious. So I grew up half Mexican, but mainly raised white.
Okay.
I worked with this guy, and he was raised Mexican. He was half Mexican, half white, but he was raised mainly Mexican. And one day I was at work, and my daughter had come with me, and we bought a bunch of empanadas. I was like, "Hey, go give this to so and so," and she's like, "Okay." So she leaves. She comes back, and he messaged me. He's like, "Dude, that's racist." I'm like, "Is it?" He's like, "It's racist because you knew I liked them."
I love that. Well, I mean, to be fair, empanadas are delicious.
Yes.
But, so that's our quick coverage of the DC news right now. Basically, nice going, DC. It's pretty racist. So we're gonna pause here for a sec, and you're gonna hear some fun little transition music or whatever, and we're gonna get into what is a show or a concept for an episode I am very excited about, and that is us pitching Batman Beyond in film, and it's probably gonna make a lot of you very angry. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. We are ready to do some pitching on our ideas for how to do Batman Beyond in the movies. And we've been talking about it for a couple days, as we've been throwing our ideas around and figuring how we want to approach this. And we both come to the conclusion we're going to make some of you pretty angry.
I like it. And that's the point sometimes.
It is. And now we don't know what either of us have done either. We've just kind of been tossing around some loose concept ideas like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But neither of us know what the other is going to do. Neither of us know what the other person is going to actually pitch in terms of actors, cast and crew, and specific plot points. We just kind of know that we're going to do some weird stuff. So for this, Matthew, what order do you want to go in here? Do you want to just start with like your crew and then your cast and then go into the concept and the plot?
I think what I want to do is our cast, because if memory serves, we have 3 different movies apiece, correct?
I have 4.
Okay, let's do this. Let's start with our main cast from the first movie. You talk your first movie. I talk my first movie. You talk the cast for your second movie. I talk the cast for my second movie. We talk about our second movies. You do the cast for your third. I do the cast for my third. And then we'll talk about your fourth. And then at the end, reveal our director, cinematographer, action writer, whatever it is that we have.
Okay. So I will say this. I only have cast 5 characters, and that's because they're the 5 who are going to kind of be there throughout the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I'm a casting crazy person, so I cast all kinds of people.
I was telling you, I had a hard time with my casting on this one. The inspiration wasn't hitting. So I basically got my 5 mains out of the way. And then and that's for the first movie. For the subsequent movies, I'm like, I don't have anybody cast, but they're going to be there.
Do you want to do the cast at the very end and talk about the movies?
Yeah, let's do the cast first. Do the cast first.
Okay.
All right. So let's go with you first. Since this was your idea, which is weird. The guy who didn't like Batman Beyond was like, you want to do a Batman Beyond pitch? And I'm like, you know what? Sure.
Bro, when I was doing Fanboy Junction, I had to recast like 70% of those movies are movies I didn't like.
That's true.
Try recasting Scott Pilgrim. Like, okay. Sure.
Wait. You don't like Scott Pilgrim?
I don't mind Scott Pilgrim. I've reappreciated it when I rewatched it a couple years ago.
Okay, we're going to talk later.
yeah. I didn't like it was one of those like, this is fun. And then I think I watched it a second time and I was like, I don't remember it being bad. Why do I not like it? And then didn't watch it for 8 or 9 years and then watched it again. And I was like, no, this is fun. What was my problem? But I mean, at the same time, like, it's not one I'm going to go back to, but when I was asked, hey, let's do this movie, I was just like sitting there like, I don't want to recast this movie. Anyway.
Right, well, let's get into your cast here. Let's talk casting for your first Batman Beyond movie.
Okay, so do we want to just go from the top to the bottom? Do we want to build up to our big guys? What do we want to do?
Do whatever order you want to do it in.
Okay. Blight / Derek Powers. So my first movie, just to get into a very because I don't have much, is I'm basically just the origin of the guy. The origin of I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to do anything different. It's just going to be his origin as told in the first couple episodes of the show, so that eventually you have Blight, Derek Powers as the main villain, and I cast Jonathan Goff as him.
Jonathan Goff. Why do I know that name?
He was the agent in the most recent Matrix movies. He's King George in Hamilton. He's the voice of Sven? No. Christoph. I don't know what the characters' names in what's it called are. Anyway, the point is he's a really good actor. He can sing, which has nothing to do with this movie. But as much as that Matrix as much as Matrix 4 was crap, he was really good in it.
That's fair.
So I just felt like he would make that cool, like, because Derek Powers is that guy who you like, but then like you're like, but behind the scenes, I wonder what he's like, and then you find out you're like, I don't know anything to do with this guy.
Yeah, he rolled a nat 20 on his charisma, but
yeah. So that's who I've cast as Derek Powers.
Okay, interesting choice. Because he's like 37, so you went younger.
Correct. I kind of wanted somebody between Terry and Bruce.
Okay.
And my Bruce is like late 60s, not quite mid 70s.
Okay.
But he could be played either way.
No, that's a neat idea. I went a little different with it, I think, but I think that's a good pick. No, he is a very good actor. I mean, because King George is I love Hamilton. I like Hamilton. I love him in Hamilton. The King George is like one of the best parts of that show. Um, and yeah, so he's very good. I do like him. So that's a if you're gonna go younger, it's a good pick. And yeah, Matrix Resurrections is garbage, but he was very good as the rebooted Smith.
Yes, yes. All right,
All right.
who'd you cast as? Are you want to go back and forth?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. So I kept it a little more kind of like you. Like he's not as old as Bruce, but I still wanted him to be kind of older just because of how I'm doing the origin. So I still kind of kept him in his in his late late 40s, early 50s kind of thing. So I went with someone who I think is very good at being kind of a conniving, diabolical businessman who I don't think gets as much work as he should, and that is Mr. John Hamm.
Yes.
Um,
As
um,
as much work as he should, he works all the time.
I just feel like he's not a bigger star. Like I think he should be like I love John Hamm, but I'm like this dude should be like leading major movies. Like he gets a lot of supporting roles and he gets a lot, but he's not talked about enough for me. And I think that he could play this again, this super charismatic, angry, corrupt businessman so well. Again, if you've seen him in Mad Men, you know what the hell I'm talking about.
See, and I was gonna say, I think he just rode Mad Men too long. I think there's
Well,
like
yeah,
a 4 to 5 year where you can go like, all right, I'm at a springboard, and then after that, you're like, nope, you're that dude forever. Sorry.
well, yeah. I mean, because Mad Men ran for like 100 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Like 7 seasons. Like the show is good, but it was one of those shows I was like, this needed to stop at like 5.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I look at John Hamm and I think like with the hair slicked back, he's got that kind of salt and pepper, Silver Fox look going on. This guy, and especially when you want to get into kind of that anger that Blight has, I think John Hamm could pull that off.
Nice. Did you cast Barbara Gordon?
I did not cast Barbara Gordon, but I do have her as a character. I cast Bruce, Terry, Derek Powers, Dana, and one more that I will save for the end.
Okay. All right. So I cast Megan Fellows as Barbara Gordon.
Megan Fellows.
If you ever watched that show called Rain, she was the queen.
Megan Follows.
Follows. What is her? Yeah, Follows. I'm sorry, not Fellows.
Okay.
Follows. She was in Rain. I know her because she was Anna Green Gables when I was a kid, and I had the biggest crush on her. And then my wife started watching Rain.
I never watched Anna Green Gables.
It's okay. It's not something you should watch.
That's funny.
It is a teen like girl. I don't know how to say it. Like it was one of those like she's cute.
I know what it is, but I was one of those I looked at it. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. No. Anyway,
it's I have a younger sister. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And then going forward with that, there's a show called Rain that my wife watched, and then I was like, why do I know that queen? But I don't because it'd been like 20 years since I'd seen her in anything. And it was because now she's like this adult, not old woman, but she's not, a teenager. Sure. So it was interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's her. And it was just, and she just has like in that show, Rain, like she's the villain.
Okay.
But not the villain like mustache twirling, like I'm trying to make sure my kingdom doesn't fall apart. So she just had like a vigor, I don't want to say integrity. I'm trying to think about the word, but just like one of those of like you could tell this is not the person you were going to mess around with. And I kind of feel like an older Barbara Gordon, having been through being Batgirl, had to put up with Batman, is not going to be this woman that you're just going to control and will buckle. Like she is the chief of police now. She has to have some kind of umph to her. And I think Megan Fellows will be able to pull that off. And, she's a redhead, so why not?
That's a cool pick. I'm looking at her IMDb right now, and I have not seen anything she's been in. So I can't really comment one way or another. I mean, I've seen Longmire. I couldn't tell you if I've seen the episode she's been in. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to fault you one way or another. You clearly know her a lot better than I do. But no, I mean, yeah, as long as she's a redhead.
Well, and it's also weird too because it's so in the cartoon she has white hair, and nowadays to
Yeah.
find an actress with white hair means they're 80. And it was just like trying to figure it out. So then I was like, I need to cast the character. Don't worry about how old per se. She just can't be young. And that's where I fell upon her. And I
Okay.
didn't want to do the Julianne Moore thing. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'd buy her as Barbara Gordon anyway. So,
No, and that just seems like such a safe choice. All on that. So we
yes.
need someone who's older ish and is a redhead. Let's just go Julianne Moore. I'm like, I mean, I
Well,
love Julianne Moore, but
look,
it's,
she's fantastic, but she hasn't aged a single bit
yeah,
since The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
exactly. Yeah. So it's,
It's like she came out of the womb 42 and just never changed.
yeah, pretty much.
All right. So then who did you cast as Dana?
Okay, so I tried to do. I mean, let me preface some of my casting here. So I tried to keep it as age appropriate as I could. I'm doing my main characters as being 18, 19 years old, like
Okay.
just starting college for the first time, like they're freshmen in college. So I tried to go for any. I basically was looking for actors under 25 because I did not want to pull a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Oh, he's 30, but he's 18, but he's got 5 o'clock shadow and 4 headlines kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I also, since Dana in the show is Chinese, I tried to go for a Chinese actress. So for Dana, I cast a young actress by the name of Brienne Tiju, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. She's done a bunch and the problem with a lot of these younger actors right now is a lot of them are doing a lot of crap on like MTV. They came from like a Disney Channel background and stuff like that. So I had to watch a lot of TV shows, and a lot of them are coming from TV. I had to watch episodes of a lot of TV shows I never thought I'd watch in my life to kind of get a feel for some of these actors before I put them on my list. So in the last week, I have seen a lot of things I never need to see again. But with that being said, Brienne Tiju plays in this CW Seed show called Life After First Failure. She plays a main role. She plays like the lead character's like best friend Jasmine, and she's got this her voice tone, because like Dana had a very almost squeaky voice in the show. It was very high pitched. It wasn't unpleasant, but it was a very higher pitched voice. And Brienne Tiju has that kind of tone to her voice. She's got a little bit of snark, a little bit of sarcasm to her, but is very good at playing a very supportive but dynamic character. Specifically, because this show is the one thing where she had like a ton of episodes that I could watch to like really see her. She's also in this show called Light as a Feather that I haven't been able to find yet, but she's got this kind of just this supportive. She's really good at playing this sort of supportive, there for you but gonna tell you how it is kind of character. And that's kind of what Dana was like in the show. She was a little bit more just there to be the supportive girlfriend. But for actually how I want to incorporate Dana into the story of these movies, I wanted someone who could also kind of hold their own as being very direct with Terry. So so I went with her specifically off of what I saw from her in the show Life After First Failure.
Sure. I did not do as much research as you did, but I do this thing sometimes where I'm like, I don't know a person who's going to be who could work. So let me look at what actors from a list would fit it, and then kind of look at their career.
Yeah.
So I picked Lana Condor.
I almost picked her. Picked her.
Yeah, she was Jubilee in the X-Men Apocalypse. But the thing that got me is that she's the female lead of these series of movies called To All the Boys. And you don't do a second film, even if it's on Netflix, if your lead is crap.
True. That's true.
So I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm just going to do that weird director thing of like, hey, if she worked for other people, I'll cast her in my movie. And so that's kind of what I went with her.
Yeah, she is good. Yeah, I did. I actually had a much longer list of actors I wanted to play Dana than I did anybody else, because as I started doing research on just like up and coming Chinese actresses, I found a lot that were very good. I almost picked, and I'm trying to remember what her name is now because I took it off my list. I almost cast Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who was in Guns Akimbo, which is this really funny action movie with
Daniel
Daniel
Radcliffe.
Radcliffe.
Yeah.
But she's also going to be playing Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka Star Wars series.
Okay.
Almost picked her, and I don't remember why. I think I was ready to settle on her. She was a little older than I was going for because she's almost 30, but I was gonna go with her, and then I found Brienne Tiju, and I was like, nah, that's the girl right there. Brienne's the girl. But yeah, Lana Condor is a great pick. I almost picked her.
Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, so you want to go to Bruce Wayne or Terry first?
So before we go to either of those, I will say I'm going to pitch you my fifth character because you haven't touched on it yet. Since you cast a Barbara Gordon, I'm making J-Man, who is the leader of the Jokers, who kind of dresses like Joker in the first few episodes. I'm making him kind of a more prominent role in all of these movies.
Nice.
So I cast him, and I will say the guy that I cast to play J-Man, is almost who I cast to play Terry.
Okay.
He was going to be my Terry until I found this other guy. But for these kind of roles, again, trying to keep with that same age group, but also who I knew could hold their own in an extended amount of time. So you kind of go for someone who's been doing a lot of TV. But also, since this is a comic book show, you want someone who can do action and combat. And anyway, I cast Tanner Buchanan from Cobra Kai.
Okay. Go ahead.
Now,
I haven't watched that show at all.
I haven't watched it either. My friends hate me because I haven't watched this show yet. I picked him because when you look at him, he kind of looks like a Terry McGinnis. He's got the dark hair. He's got the blue eyes. He's fit because he does Cobra Kai. They do all their own fighting and stuff in that show. So he's in shape, and he can hold a fight. I almost picked him, but only reason I didn't is he's the right age group, but he looks a lot younger than he actually is.
Okay.
He's 23. He looks like he's maybe 16. He's just got a very boyish face, and he's a little short. He's a little short for what I'd like to do for Terry. I want someone who's a little, but I watched a couple scenes from Cobra Kai and some other stuff he's done. He's a good actor, and I know he can fight. But I noticed that the character he tends to play tends to have a lot of attitude and a lot of snark, and just kind of is just kind of a douche. And I was like, oh well, that's my J-Man right there. Because J-Man's going to be the Jokers in general. The gang are going to have a much bigger part to play in what I'm pitching. So that's who I went with for J-Man is Tanner Buchanan from Cobra Kai.
Okay. We could talk about that stuff later. So,
all right. So let's do Terry, then Bruce, because I think Bruce is going to be the one that people really want to hear, which is weird to say because the show is about Terry, or the movie is about Terry. But I think Bruce is going to be the one that we can stick the landing with the most.
Yeah. All right. So my Terry McGinnis. Do you want the journey, or do you want me to just drop it?
Just drop it. We'll the journey as far as like why you picked him.
Yes.
Let me hear it because I'm going to ask you either way.
I mean, the big thing for me, especially when it comes to casting some of this stuff, dealing with these older movies or characters or blah, blah, is I think sometimes you get trapped in what they look like and what their ethnicity is.
Okay.
And in my journey of like, how do I find a young actor and who this? And I did similar to you is I started looking at like the first guy I almost picked was, do you watch Stranger Things?
I am almost done with season 2.
Okay.
I finally started watching it last month.
So the villain of the 4th season, this like allegedly high school guy.
Okay.
I was like, this guy, he's good looking. He could do it, blah, blah. But he just doesn't look like he's in high school. As much as they say he's a senior, but I was like, okay, I could do the Tobey Maguire thing and get him out of high school as quickly as possible. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So then, of course, you just, as anybody, you go through the Stranger Things cast. And I was like,
when you need young up and coming actors, what's your go-to? Let's look at Stranger Things. Who's in that?
Yeah. And then I was like, no, none of these guys work. And then I was like, wait a minute. One of these guys works, but I got to get out of my head. So it's Caleb McLaughlin.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I'm not that far into Stranger Things yet, so I hadn't thought of him.
Yeah. And it was just one of those times of like, it sounds horrible to say this, and, please come at me. we were watching the fourth season. Of course, when you cast little kids, you don't know what they're going to look like when they get older.
Right.
Well, beyond him, nobody else ages very well as far as the
In that
males.
show?
Yes, it's like they start like
Yeah.
this. The last season, you're just like, dude, did they cast anybody attractive? But he has aged into becoming a man very well. And for you who don't know, he's black. And I just kind of went like, yeah, why would he have to be white? It's not like
Yeah, who
Batman,
cares?
who's been around for 80 years. Like, it's Batman Beyond. And his mask completely obscures his face anyway. So I was like, yeah, why not? That's perfect. So I cast him as Terry McGinnis. And in my kind of, we'll just go down the rabbit hole because I cast her because she does last for a while, is his mom, Mary McGinnis. I cast Kerry Washington from Scandal.
Oh, I like Kerry Washington. I thought I considered her for another role in mind that I decided not to cast just because I didn't want to put that much work into it. But I'll bring that up in a little bit. But good pull.
Yeah,
Good.
so
I like Kerry Washington a lot.
Yeah, I just was like, yeah, let's have fun with it. Like, again, if you're going to do it, have fun. It's not a woke thing. I didn't intentionally do it, but I just kind of had that moment of like, he's athletic, he's got a good build, he's grown up, unfortunately, like the other guys, grown up to be a good looking kid, and he can act. Like, he's done a ton. He's one of the better guys in that show. So yeah, he's my Terry McGinnis.
It's funny you say that because I just started watching it, and all during season 1, all I could think was, man, Lucas sucks. Lucas sucks, man. Like this kid's just a dick. And then you get to season 2, and it's like him and Mike flipped because now Lucas is cool and Mike sucks. No, I like him. He does a very good job on the show. I like him a lot more in season 2 than I do in season 1. So I'm ready to hurry up and get to the end of the show. I'm loving it so far. I hate that it took me this long to get to it. No, yeah, and who gives a crap about the race thing? Who cares? You know what?
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, as long as it's not like an integral part of the character, do whatever the hell you want. You know? So the same thing about when with Death in Sandman. It's like, I don't really care as long as they make me feel things.
Yeah. And she did. Very much so.
She did. So mine, I still kept going with the kind of I didn't race bend him. I kept going with the actors and things I haven't seen, so I had to watch some TV shows I avoided to learn about them. So I still wanted someone who had the kind of physique thing, who knew how to handle the physique thing, had done some acting and with being physically fit. And I originally, like I said, was going to go with Tanner Buchanan from Cobra Kai. And then I stumbled upon this other dude on a show I promised myself I would never watch, but I watched a handful of episodes and I hated the show, but he was very good in them. And it felt like he was written by someone who loved Terry McGinnis, and that is Cody Christian from Teen Wolf.
Okay. I've never watched it, but I think I know who you're talking about.
He's a good looking dude. He's kind of got that taller, more yoked physique that I'm looking for from Terry. He kind of feels like, because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm really going to lean into like Terry having a juvie record.
Okay.
It's like that they mentioned that like twice in the show that he has one. I think they kind of avoided that for the most part just because it was a kid show. But I'm gonna make that that's kind of a big part of what I'm doing. And Cody Christian, the way he plays the character of Theo on Teen Wolf, like he gives you kind of that like former delinquent type of energy and attitude. Someone who's like he's like I'm here to do the right thing, but I'm gonna be kind of a dick about it. And so that's why I picked him, because he's taller. He's still in that right age range. He's like, when I look at him, it's like this guy could totally pull off. Like, he looks like a angsty 18-year-old who's going to tell Bruce Wayne to shove it.
I like it.
All right. Moment of truth. Old man Bruce Wayne. What do you got, Matthew?
All right. So because I'm crazy when it comes to casting some of these characters, and even though Bruce Wayne's supposed to be older, I also want him to be capable if he has to be.
Yeah.
Um, and you're gonna kill me, but like I just kept going around, and this guy just kept popping in my head because when you look at him, he just looks like a freaking weird ass comic book in a way. I picked Dolph Lundgren.
Show's over. The show's over. The show's over. No. Oh, okay. All right. Convince me. I love Dolph Lundgren. Don't get me wrong. Convince me.
uh, he's just this big dude who has aged very well, but it's kind of weird. You'd almost have to make him look his age because he's like 65, 66 years old. But the thing of it is like just that gruffness that he kind of does in Expendables, but then to like listen to him talk. And there's a show called The Art of Action. Scott Adkins does this like show interviewing all these people. And when you talk to him for real, he is this incredibly intelligent, wise guy. But then when you see him in movies, he just plays like this brute. You know, I've looked at it in the past where he's like actually like super high end intelligent, genius level IQ. And I was like, if people would just let him do that, I think we'd see a different side of him. And I just kept thinking, like, yeah, I could see him walking with that cane. And then the moment he's got to lay something down, he's totally got the ability to. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his martial arts movies, but the dude is just straight up a karate guy.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, it just like I think no matter what, even as an old man, he's got to have an intimidating presence, and I think he would definitely have this presence over who I cast as Terry. But then it'd be interesting to see if he could kind of pull a little bit of charm if he ever needed to with talking with Barbara Gordon or even Mary McGinnis. But that's my pick, dude. I know it's weird. It just I don't know why it kind of reminded me of just this look he has in The Dark Knight Returns, which Dark Knight Returns, Batman is about the same age as Batman Beyond Batman, maybe a little bit younger. But it's just what kind of hit me, and I don't know why. I just couldn't get out of my head. And the more I kept going, and I was like, I couldn't find somebody that I think we talked on the thing is like 10, 15 years ago, it probably would have been Clint Eastwood. But
Yeah.
yeah, Dolph Lundgren, I just couldn't get it out of there. So yeah, that's who it is.
All right, I'm gonna judge you for the rest of the remaining years, just forever. You'll be on your deathbed, and I'll be like, "Listen, man, I'm gonna miss you, but did you seriously want to pick Dolph Lundgren as Bruce Wayne?"
Hey, put a bat cowl on him. Look at him go.
But I mean, I like Dolph Lundgren a lot. I've seen a lot of his movies. He's a good actor. I'll tell you what. In recent years, I actually thought he was pretty good as King What's His Face, Mara's dad in Aquaman. I thought he was pretty good in that actually. And actually, I liked him in season 5 of Arrow. I thought he was pretty darn good in season 5 of Arrow. So he's played in the DC world before. And I like him. I don't know. I'm never going to be able to wrap my head around that. That's never going to happen.
It's weird. Like it's even like me sitting there going like, does it work? And I just like kept going like, look, weirder things have happened and worked perfectly. And
yeah. I mean, look, Heath Ledger is Joker. That's always my go back to is like I can sit here and buku any casting I want. Heath Ledger played Joker, and that kind of shuts me up. So,
dude, song and dance guy. People still want him to come back and be Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. Pattinson is Batman. I mean, yeah, weirder things have happened.
Yeah,
this could be the weirdest. So
it probably would be.
mine is kind of safe, but I got the idea for this one actually from when we did our sequelizing The Dark Knight Rises. For old man Bruce Wayne, I wanted something that was going to feel a little comfortable, and I wanted someone who I knew could kind of act circles around the entire cast as well. And I went with Kevin Conroy.
Oh, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. He did really good when he was in that show, when the crossover.
He is the voice of Bruce Wayne Batman. We all know that voice. That is undeniable. My Bruce Wayne is like kind of like you. He's like in his mid 60s. So he fits that age range perfectly because he's in his mid 60s. I jumped off the CW Arrowverse a while ago, but I did see the clips of him playing older Bruce Wayne in the Crisis on Infinite Earth thing they did.
Yeah, Kingdom Come version.
Yeah, which was, and I thought he did a very good job. I thought he did an excellent job. And I was like, I want to see this, but I want to see this not hindered by a CW script. You know what I mean? Like, and think about Kevin Conroy. A lot of people don't know he is a Juilliard trained actor.
Big
Like
time.
the man is like, yes, we know him as being the voice of Batman, and that is fantastic. Kevin Conroy is a damn good actor. He has done work on Broadway. He graduated Juilliard. I want to say
It's like
around
mid-70s.
he roomed with Robin Williams
Correct.
while he was there. He was in the same group as him and Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
He graduated in 78. I'm looking at it here right now. So the man can act. And I feel like if there was ever a great chance for like a true, for lack of a better word, swan song for Kevin Conroy playing Bruce Wayne, it's like, let's literally make him both animated and live action old man Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. No, I think it's perfect. Makes absolute total sense to do that.
All right, so that's kind of our main meat of our cast here. Matthew's going to have some more as we get into our story pitches. Which, by the way, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode. Deal with it, but it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. All right, so you want to do the crew last? You said,
yeah. I think we'll do the crew last. I think it'll be fun.
Okay,
because I would use the same guys for all three.
I would too. Yeah, I would too. So let's pitch some stories then here. I'm gonna go first on this one. So now I'm doing 4 movies is the way mine ended up being.
Okay.
I set up the first one to kind of stand alone, but if they want to do more, they can. And then I had some ideas for some post-credit scenes, and then boom, it's 4 movies. So whatever. It's I'm playing with house money, so who cares? So I still wanted to keep it kind of like you said, still pretty true to the origin that's set up in the show. I tweaked it a little bit more for narrative. The overall feel and concept I'm going for is like Blade Runner 2049 meets Batman, which yeah, I mean that's kind of what Batman Beyond is. It's Blade Runner Batman. There's like Gotham at this point has been divided into 2 cities. There's two levels, an upper and a lower level. And like the upper is like refined and civilized and clean and pretty and goes on a postcard. And the lower level is like, it's dirty. There's a lot of crime. It's kind of like the old city. It's kind of like what they did with Futurama almost, where it's like the old city is buried. And so with this, I want to open the movie with like, kind of how he did the first episode of the show is like older Bruce Wayne is still trying to be Batman, and then he has like a heart attack while he's out there. Comes back home and puts the suit away for the last time. At this point in moment, we still see a much older Alfred, still kind of just there. But at this point, Bruce is helping him more than Alfred's helping Bruce, and kind of swears off. We do a little bit of a time jump. Let's call it 10 years. And we see Bruce burying Alfred.
Okay.
So I wanted that, and which is sad, yes, but we're having this big funeral for Alfred because what I wanted to kind of turn into is that Bruce still has these health issues, but he still needs someone to help him kind of get around. So Terry, who we see basically getting, busted by the cops again and having, again, we're kind of hammering in that he's got this juvie record. Bruce or Terry has to basically do community service. And so his community service is that he goes to work at Bruce Wayne's mansion, helping take care of him, like run errands for him, that kind of thing is his community service.
Makes sense. I like it.
Yeah, because I'm not a big. One of my least favorite things in movies is serendipity. So I don't
Yeah.
like the idea that he just happened to be running away from this gang and just happened to end up at Bruce Wayne's place of all places and just happens to go inside and find out he's Batman. I'm like, no, I want like a reason for him to be there. And so yeah, he's community service. He's he's 18, 19 years old. They're getting it's like, summertime. So he's not in college yet. His girlfriend Dana is going to college. She really wants him to go. He doesn't really want to go. He feels like he probably, odds are he probably wasn't able to get in because of the whole juvie record thing. But he's like, whatever, it's not for me. She's going to go to nursing school and whatever. But her dad doesn't approve. But whatever, it's fine. They're young and they're hot and they're in love. One night while Terry's working in the mansion, the Jokers, the gang, they break into Wayne Manor and they're like trashing the place and grabbing shit. And they're like, we got, let's find the old man. So Terry starts trying to fight these guys off. And they end up like busting into like Bruce's room or something where he's sleeping. And, Bruce tries to like, fight these guys off. And he's still just young enough that some of those old instincts are still there, and seeing J-Man, the Joker looking gang leader come in, it like triggers him almost, and those old instincts start coming back, and him and Terry fight these guys off, and they end up calling the cops, which at this point Commissioner Barbara Gordon shows up, and we can see that she's got some kind of like Wayne Tech cyber upgrade that's helping her walk.
Okay.
Little back and forth of like her and Bruce being old friends and all that. And what leads to Terry finding the Batcave is he's just kind of trying to clean up the mansion after the break-in. He's putting stuff away. He's, trying to figure out what all they took, yada, yada, yada. It leads him over, at one point during the fight, like the grandfather clock or whatever gets busted up against it. He's trying to fix it and winds up triggering the door to open. Finds the Batcave. Bruce throws him out, so on and so forth. The stuff with Derek Powers, the whole corporate espionage thing is still pretty much the same. In this particular movie, though, what I'm doing is he's been trying to, take out, get full control of the company away from Bruce Wayne, but it's not happening. So I'm putting it that he actually did hire the Jokers to go basically mess up the place, take out Bruce Wayne, make it look like a robbery gone bad.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then we also get the whole thing where they report back. They report back to him like, no, we didn't. This happened, so on and so forth. He finds out that it's, that the young man that fought them off is the son of the guy that works for him. So he hires the Jokers to go take out Terry's dad, make it look like revenge for fighting them off from Bruce Wayne's place.
I like it.
Yeah. So at this point, Terry immediately steals the suit. He immediately goes and grabs the suit to go take on the Jokers. He's going to go take the suit because he knows it's there. He doesn't want to go be Batman. He just wants to have a fighting edge to go take out these gang members. He goes, he's looking, he can't find the gang leader. He can't find J-Man. So he's taking out these lower level guys. He tries to do like a Batman style interrogation, but because the Batman Beyond suit has like the strength enhancers and all that, he basically almost kills the guy. So what ends up happening is Bruce triggers the whole failsafe thing that locks the suit up, and we see the super fucking old bat plane fly over and like snag him with like a grappling hook and take him back to the Batcave. And, they're having their fight, like, you took my suit, yada, 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 what should I do? So Terry explains everything that happened. So Bruce agrees to train him enough to help him get justice for his father, which means
we're gonna need a montage.
So we see them like training, because the idea is that like Terry is like a brilliant tech student. Like if he really wanted to, he could have gone to college for, computer tech or whatever. And like, got a brilliant mind, because like Bruce Wayne has got a brilliant logistical mind. He's a detective, that kind of thing. Terry's not that, but what does he bring to the table besides just youth and charm and good looks? He's a tech wizard. So the Batman Beyond suit is advanced, but it's still also kind of old. So during this montage, we've seen him it's kind of like we've seen Ant-Man, where he's just kind of tinkering with it a little bit, making it just kind of work better for him. And we see like, quick shots of him finding other pockets of the gang. And he's trying to find J-Man. He's trying to figure out where all this, how high this goes. We find out that he was offered the scholarship, but he lost it when he went to juvie, that kind of thing. So now that he's kind of got this better handle on things, we see him actually do a successful, Batman style, holding them off the edge of the building interrogation type thing. Eventually finds J-Man and, through, finds like a cell phone or whatever, hacks it and finds out that Powers is behind all of this. So he goes and tells Bruce. So, it's like, okay, well, we got to be careful if you're going to do this. You're going against my company. This could come back to me, so on and so forth. I'm actually going to have it to where throughout all this time, Powers was already exposed to the nerve gas stuff. Like that happened as an accident at the lab. He's already slowly turning into Blight and has already been going through the treatments to try to contain it. And it's just getting worse and worse. So okay. So it already happened because, it already happened to him. It's not because like we'll see scenes of like, the J-Man coming to talk to him. And he's like, he's like, oh, you can tell he's in pain and he makes him leave and he goes in for another like radiation treatment or something like that. So he's not the green fire dude yet, but he's getting there. During this final confrontation at the company or whatever is where Blight finally starts like going nuclear. Like he starts going fiery and green and seemingly Terry takes him out by dropping him into the lake. Like they fight, explosion. Blight goes into the lake. Okay, well he's gone. So like kind of how the first two episodes end of the show. Mike? You there? Are you there?
I am now. I lost you for about 5 seconds.
All right. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Blight fell in the water.
Okay. Blight falls into the water. And they think he's gone at this point. Like they're combing they're dragging the lake, they're dragging the water. They can't find him. Kind of like what happens with the show. The next morning, Terry wakes up. He's got the suit unstuffed under his bed, and Bruce Wayne is there doing his like nice, kind old man thing. Talks to his mom and his parole officer, saying like, "No, I'm the one that threw him out over a misunderstanding." And basically says, if you continue to work for me in my house, I'll pay for you to go to college. And
okay.
he's so he walks him out and tells him that hey, Powers' body was never recovered, and that because of Batman basically being back and all the stuff that we did, the Jokers have started pushing into the upper city from the lower city because they see there's a new Batman, so now they see him as a challenge.
Okay, no, I think that's cool.
Yeah. So as part of the front, Bruce is like, I'm going to pay for you to go to college and all that. So we see that Terry's at Gotham State. And this is where I do a little bit of world building because I love me some world building. So Terry goes to his first computer tech class and he meets his assigned lab partner, a young woman named Max.
There we go.
Yep. He's like, oh, hi, I'm Max. He has lunch he goes and he has lunch, runs into Dana on campus. She's a nursing student. And she's there and she's like, hey, I want to introduce you to my classmate. This is my friend Melanie Walker. Now, if you don't know who Melanie Walker is, kids, in Batman Beyond, Melanie Walker ends up being 10 from the Royal Flush Gang, who basically becomes Terry's Selina Kyle.
Okay. Yeah.
She is the Terry Batman, what Selina Catwoman. Bruce even says as much. After that first Royal Flush Gang episode where he's like, did anything like this ever happen to you? He goes, let me tell you about a woman named Selina Kyle. Dana asks Terry if they can all go to dinner. He tells her he can't. He's got to go run some errands for Mr. Wayne. We see the end shot of Terry's Batman on like, a tall skyscraper. He's got his tech. He's listening for stuff around the city. He hears like a gang break-in happen somewhere, busts out the wings, flies off into the city, credits. And then in our mid-credit scene, we see that there's like a lab. People are working on stuff, and we find out that Powers is alive. He's being monitored. He's just full-blown glowing. They're trying to basically just keep him stable. They're using some kind of special cooling tech. They're like, it's working. It could be working better. We need to figure out another solution before long. So one of the doctors turns to another and says, hey, can you go tell the boss, like, we're working on this. We're having some problems. So the doc leaves the room. He goes down a hall, and there's a door labeled Project Inc. And standing outside of that door is a much older Amanda Waller.
Nice.
And he said, she tells the doc, okay, well, let's go. The cooling thing's working, but not great. Let's go talk to the expert. They go down another hall into a lab where they're being held prisoner is a older but not aged Mr. Freeze, who is being kept alive in some kind of weird lab thing, tortured and experimented on, and they're using his tech to try to maintain Powers.
Why am I not surprised you brought in Mr. Freeze?
Because goddamn it, I love Mr. Freeze. And it plays into what I'm going for with my future movies. And then my final credit scene, we see J-Man, the head of the Jokers. He's coming back to basically the gang's den, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Goes into his room, and he's, just sitting on his bed. And we hear this creepy voice telling him that if he's going to go up against the Batman, he's going to have to work on his sense of humor. We hear this growing chuckle turn into a sinister laugh as this figure just kind of awkwardly stumbles past him out of the room, and the door is just about to shut, and we see a faint glimpse of a purple suit and long, thin green hair. The door slams shut, and it all goes to black.
Nice. I like it.
That's part one.
That's part one that leads into part 18 of other films.
So yeah, a lot of world building, basically the same origin. I did some tweaking with the story a little bit just for narrative structure, and really wanted to just spend a lot of time building out who the hell these characters are.
No, I think it sounds perfect. All right, so
for
me, I didn't do anything. There's only like 2 or 3 changes to the origin that is in the cartoon that I changed. Number one, you don't ever see the idea. I'm trying to think about how to explain this. So essentially, like, the Batman Beyond suit was never Bruce Wayne's suit.
Okay.
It was the second Batman suit.
Okay.
And that is why he's so against recruiting Terry. Is that there was another Batman, and it ended horribly. And you don't find out what happened. You just know that there was one.
Interesting. Okay.
The other thing is that I would just have Blight be the main villain. So his episodes, like right after the pilot, kind of would be smashed into my pilot.
Okay.
But that's really the only thing that's kind of different. Everything else is the same. I would kind of drop a little more that Nightwing did leave. That's why he's not around.
Right.
I wouldn't get into who the replacement Batman was until my second film.
Okay.
So, do you want to roll into my second film, or do you want to do your second film?
Yeah, we'll keep going back and forth here. So my part 2 is called Batman Beyond Dead Man's Hand, which is one of my favorite episodes of the series. I'm just basically going to adapt that episode, but also build it into this world that I'm building. And that's the episode with the Royal Flush Gang, the thing with Melanie Walker /10.
I almost did it. I just didn't know enough about them in that show to do it.
So I love the Royal Flush Gang just on general principle. It's one of my favorite Batman rogues, period. I just love the concept of the Royal Flush Gang. And I love the way they're used in Batman Beyond so much. It's a version. The main problem the show had was that they never really had as good a rogues gallery as Batman did. And half the time the villains they used were just adaptations of Batman villains that already existed. Like the version of the Royal Flush Gang they use in the show, Batman Beyond, already existed in the comics. They just made it work in the future world. But I love the way they use them. So that's what I want my second movie to be, is going to focus a lot more on like Terry and Dana's relationship being strained by his being Batman.
Okay.
Melanie Walker gets involved. The Royal Flush Gang gets involved. because they also kind of go that this is also how I'm going to develop Max into more of that like kind of proto Oracle type character she is in the show. The movie's going to end with Dana actually, like by the end of the movie, Dana's going to know Terry's Batman. And she's going to be kind of like what Rosario Dawson is in Daredevil, because she's this like nursing student, you know, trying to be a doctor and all that. She's going to kind of be helping him tend to his wounds at one point. We're going to find out that Powers is still active behind the scenes. He's actually the ones who have been hiring and funding the Royal Flush Gang for whatever they've been doing in this movie. We're going to find out that Mr. Freeze, we're still building this Mr. Freeze thing, and he is basically planning his escape and his revenge. He's being held there against his will. And then in the whatever post-credit scenes I have is going to show, we're still going to go this whole old man Joker is kind of starting to rally the Jokers into this massive army to invade Neo Gotham.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I got broad strokes for the 3 sequels. So that's
Okay.
that's my pitch on part 2.
Okay, my part 2 is going to be Batman Beyond: Rise of the Demon, and it's going to be Ra's al Ghul coming back to Gotham to reclaim it in his mind. And the reason it's reclaim is because Damian was Batman. And the reason why Batman upgraded the suit was to make sure Damian would survive being Batman.
So 2 things. We all know I hate Damian Wayne.
Yes.
But I like that angle.
Yes. So I cast Cliff Curtis as Ra's al Ghul. It's a cheat because I used it before, but I love that dude, and I think he'd make a great Ra's al Ghul.
Curtis. Oh, that guy. Okay. All right.
Talia al Ghul will be in it as well. It is Sarah Shahai, I think is her name. She's going to be in Black Adam, which I won't hold that against her. But she was in this show called Life. She's been all over the place. She's a fantastic actress, attractive woman. Can do strength as a female cop that isn't like I'm sexy and I'm strong. She's just strong, and it makes her sexy. If that makes any sense.
Oh, okay. I know who she is. Okay, okay. I'm googling these as you go.
Yeah, and then did you watch RRR yet?
No, I have not watched RRR yet.
Okay, because I cast Ram Charan as Damian Wayne.
Okay,
and he's the cop guy in RRR. And what you yeah, he hasn't been anything American or US, but he's done a lot of Bollywood stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is that Damian Wayne had been Batman for about 10 years, and it ends with him defeating the Joker.
Okay.
And he kills the Joker, which pisses Bruce Wayne off. So Bruce Wayne basically says, "You're done. If you can't be Batman the way you're supposed to be Batman, you can't be Batman." And he's like, "Whatever, I didn't want to do this anyway." So currently, Damian Wayne runs a martial arts studio in Gotham and also directs like action movies. And he is the head martial arts advisor for a TV show called The Dark Cavalier, which has nothing to do with the story. I just thought it was neat.
Oh, okay.
But just to give him like, he's using all of his abilities and he's able to advise, because basically like, hey, I was Batman, so I could perfect at this. But even though nobody knows he was Batman. So Ra's al Ghul, because Damian was Batman, felt like he controlled Gotham because his grandson was Batman. So now that his grandson has not been Batman for like 10 years and there's a new Batman, Ra's al Ghul's like, nope, this doesn't work. I'm coming back to take it on. And essentially what you have is Terry going to Damian saying like, hey, you need to help me defeat your grandfather. And Damian, being the punk he is like, no, you can go sit on it. I don't care. And eventually takes Bruce, Damian, and Terry all teaming up to defeat Ra's and his plans and Talia. And at the end, they've gotten rid of Ra's, and Talia's like, well, now that plan didn't work, I guess I'll have my own plan. And that's kind of your end hook, is that Talia will be back.
It's interesting that you pitched that, because I know you haven't watched Batman Beyond all the way to the end. Because in season 3, there is an episode that deals with Ra's al Ghul and Talia. And
nice.
If you can get that far in season 3, it's got nothing to do with what you're pitching. But it is a neat episode, and I think you might get some enjoyment out of it.
Okay. Like I said, I think Batman Beyond's one of those shows that now I can watch it and probably be happy with it.
Yeah,
And my son, whose name is Race,
nice.
We tried to watch it, and he just wasn't into it.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah. So Ram Charan is my Damian Wayne, Cliff Curtis is my Ra's al Ghul, and Sarah Shahai is my Talia al Ghul, and that's my second film, Rise of the Demon.
All right. So the reason I'm doing 4 is because part 3 and part 4 of my series are basically a part 1 and part 2 of each other.
Okay.
So they're both basically 2 parts of, like, they're all part of the same story, but parts 3 and 4 of this series are direct sequels to each other. So part 3 is called Batman Beyond Meltdown, which Meltdown is the name of the Mr. Freeze episode of Batman Beyond. I'm not following that episode, like, at least for my broad strokes thing. It's more about, they've kind of been, I mean, it's kind of been going on throughout this whole series, is they've been using Mr. Freeze and experimenting on him and trying to use his tech to try and contain and Powers, Derek Powers' whole blight thing. And the way the movie would go is it would focus on the conclusion of that story arc. Blight is basically on the verge of going completely nuclear. Like, if they can't contain this, he's going to be a walking nuclear bomb, basically. They won't be able to stop him. And Freeze has escaped and is losing control of his abilities as well. So you've almost got this thing where, like, half the city is frozen and is snowy and cold and freezing, and the other half is just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And it basically turns into Freeze sacrificing himself to eliminate Blight altogether. So they're both gone. But just before the credits roll, the now amassed Jokers, in this big gang army, are now starting to just bust their way into Neo Gotham, and they are just wrecking shop. And it's going to end with, like, this jumbotron announcement of the old man Joker announcing he's back and he wants Batman's head. And that's going to cause old man Bruce Wayne to have a heart attack, and we go to black.
Nice.
Yeah. So do you mind if I go ahead and pitch my part 4, since it's
if it's a 2-parter, okay. Do 4.
And then I'm just calling part 4 Batman Beyond Epilogue, and I am 100% not doing the crap from that epilogue episode they did in Justice League. Because I thought that was ridiculous. I'm just calling it Epilogue. But it's going to be like, and we're going to do a bit of a time jump. Like, it's been about 6 months since the end of the first movie, since end of part 3, since Meltdown. And Terrace has just been trying to maintain his Batman. Bruce is still in a coma. And Max and Nana are doing their best to kind of help Terry hang, but they are just overwhelmed because the Jokers are just laying waste to the city. What ends up happening is, like, Terry finally tracks down or comes into contact with Commissioner Barbara Gordon, and she's like, look, I know who you are. I'm not an idiot. Because at this point, they haven't revealed themselves to each other. He's been keeping it a secret. And she's like, look, I can't really help you. She's like, I've got this thing that helps me walk. I can't fight, like I used to. But she basically encourages him to track down some of Batman's former allies for help, that being Dick Grayson and Tim Drake.
Nice. Yes.
To track them down. Go find them. If anyone can help you, it's the two of them. Dick still operates as Nightwing in Bloodhaven. And she's like, Tim Drake, I haven't seen or heard from in a while, but from what I hear, he's still out there, doing his thing. So go. I'm not going to do the whole Tim Drake is actually Joker thing. Okay. I hate that. I hated that. It was stupid. It made no sense. Even from a comic book standpoint, I'm like, that's far-fetched. That's some suspension of disbelief right there. But yeah, he's going to basically go out and try to find Nightwing. And I don't know if I would have Tim be the Red Robin or just like some other secret vigilante of some kind. Yeah. But basically go find them and maybe they can help you. And that's as far as I've gotten with part 4. But obviously, like, something happens, they win the day, everything's fine.
Perfect. I like it. All right. So my third film is called Batman Beyond the Last Laugh.
Okay.
And I do have the Joker returning.
Nice.
And he, in his, machinations, he does go to Harley Quinn because she has been kind of secretly running this new Joker's gang. I've cast Heather Graham as Harley Quinn because, of course, has aged
Really?
since then. Yes, yes, yes. And again, Terry does the Damien helped me before. Maybe he'll help me with this one. And Damien's like, nah, look, I needed to kick my grandfather out of town because he doesn't own this town, but I don't want anything to do with this. And so Terry starts going against him. He's able to, with Bruce Wayne's help, as far as like telling him what to do, using the tech that he has, he's able to defeat the Joker. But I did kind of steal it. And yes, Damien is the Joker and has been
Okay.
this entire time. And what we'll get with that is that you've got this great knockout, drag out fight between Batman and the Joker that is beyond anything we've seen because a Joker usually is just this dude, but it's actually Damien. So you've
Okay.
got somebody who have the full ninja styles, and a lot of it is he is able to, I don't want to say cure Damien. I don't know if he would find out before the end that he was the Joker, but that Bruce and Terry together have to fix him and bring him back. But even then, it's just like, nah, he's not right. And I played with the idea that maybe they end up throwing him in jail for what he's done, and it ends with Talia breaking him out of Arkham.
Oh.
So then we can go for dozens of movies after that if we need to.
Nah, Damien's got to die.
Well, the thing for me is the biggest problem I had with that, the Return of the Joker movie was like it was
Yeah.
painfully obvious it was Tim, because that I'm aware
everyone
he's not in
says
the
that.
show.
Everyone says that. I never thought that.
Well, because he wasn't in the rest of the show that I was aware of.
No, he wasn't, but neither were a lot of characters.
Correct.
Neither
So for
was the
him to
Joker.
just suddenly be there again, I was like, no, if you could have just not had him show up again unless he's somebody.
Yeah.
But I liked what they did with it, the idea that he would be infected. So that's why I also call it the last laugh, because the Batman who laughs is the Batman from another dimension who had the Joker serum in him.
Right.
So I haven't really kind of fleshed out whether it's nanites, whether he's been Joker the whole time and that's why he quit being, what the whole thing is. But it is something about this recently that he starts becoming Joker again. I don't know if I would do the full, like he physically transforms.
That was the part in the show in the movie, because I love that movie, don't get me wrong, but that's the part that I was like, he literally like grows and changes his muscle mass. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't think I would go that far. I would just have that, dude, you look at a picture of Heath Ledger as a Joker and a Heath Ledger, like, I don't know if I'd know it was the same guy. So I would just count on Ram Charan being able to act in a manner that you would not be able to tell he's the Joker.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, good luck keeping that out of Twitter.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, I just think it would be cool to have that. And like I said, that's why I would have Damien be in the second film, because when he shows up in the third, you're not like, you know what I mean? So for him to be kind of part of it, in the second and third, I think it less likely that you think it's him. Maybe we even toss in Tim Drake as a red herring. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's my third film.
That's cool, man. No, my Joker was just going to be the Joker. Like, he's just the Joker.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna try. I was like, no, screw it. It's just because when you make it somebody else, it takes away from the moment. I'm like, oh, well, then it's not the Joker. It's somebody else pretending to be the Joker.
Correct. And even if it's somehow Harley Quinn finally gets out of jail and then uses something to activate the rest of whatever they injected into Damien, like, who knows? It doesn't have to be a nanites transformation, But
no, it worked. But that makes more sense to me than just like Tim Drake was tortured all these years ago, and only just now is becoming the Joker? Like, what's been going on for the last 40 years?
Yeah. Why did he
So,
suddenly, hey, now I'm that? Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, man, this was fun.
Yes.
I had fun with it because I've been going back and rewatching Batman Beyond just in my spare time on HBO Max while I still can, and it's I can't. I have to throw shade every chance I get. I was so glad you pitched this idea because it was like I've always wanted this idea. I've always wanted a Batman Beyond movie, and I guess I didn't realize just how much I wanted it until I started writing these story points, and I was like, "Oh God, I must have really wanted this," because suddenly I've got 4 movies in front of me.
Well, and I think the biggest problem I had with this show originally, and you have to remember, like, this is now, I want to say Batman Beyond is late 90s, maybe
It's
2000.
99, I think.
So up until that point, the only other person who had ever been Batman was Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Well, no, that hadn't happened yet.
No, it had.
Had it?
Because he'd been Batman. Because I'm trying to think when Nightfall happens. Because I guess Azrael is Batman for a while, so that's mid 90s.
Say Dick Grayson didn't do his run as Batman until I was in high school, I think.
Well, no. So what happened is when the Nightfall things happens and Azrael becomes Batman for a brief time.
Yeah.
But it's totally different. He's wearing the armor, blah, blah, blah. Because Bruce Wayne has not fully recovered from his back being broken, Dick Grayson is Batman for a while Bruce Wayne goes and fully recovers after they all have defeated Azrael. And it's that once Bruce Wayne comes back to say, hey, I'm going to be Batman again, that is when in comics lore, Nightwing and Batman finally make up.
Okay.
And so, then
I know he does it in Batman Reborn after Final Crisis.
Yeah. Well, and it's because they've retconned and reconned so many things, you never know. But in the 90s Batman comics, it's that situation that brings Nightwing back into the Bat family.
Okay.
That he was Batman, goes back to being Nightwing, and then soon after changes the costume and does all the other stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's where that comes from. Like I said, him before he becomes Batman for like a couple issues, and I think it's called like Prodigal Son because it's literally him returning to Gotham, becoming Batman. That's when you have that like Nightwing might show up once every 2 years or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So it does change the landscape of who Nightwing is and how he's in relation to Batman and all the stuff. But then you also have like all the Robins that happen after that. And then of course between now and then, there's been a Tim Drake Batman, there's been a Damian Wayne Batman, there's been Batman Who Laughs, there's Tom Wayne Batman, like there's been 80 different Batman since then.
Yeah.
But at the time when this cartoon came out, there had not really been that. And I was like, why wouldn't this just be Dick Grayson as Batman? Like, why would you make a random character no one's heard of to be Batman? And I just like concept threw me. So that's why I was like, nope, I don't want anything to do with this. And then watch the movie, really like that Return Joker movie, and just had never gone back to rewatch it. So I need to do that now. Even though, like I said, I've watched a couple episodes here and there.
It's good. It's one of my favorite shows. Even now, as I'm going back and rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, there's some stuff that like this is definitely for kids, but like the overall story and concept still holds really, really well. And there's a lot of really good ideas, but when you're making a Saturday morning cartoon, there's only so far you can go with them.
Yeah.
So, but the concept is chef's kiss. And so when you were like, you want to just go ahead and just do the movie pitch? And I was like, yes, let's do that. Yes, please. Thank you.
And in this day and age where we're at the point, well, I want to say we're at the point where we have several different versions of Batman. We've introduced to multiverses. I think this movie could completely, totally work as a standalone film. And you could completely say Dolph Lundgren is Batman.
Yeah.
And he's old Batman and this is new Batman. And people will be like, okay, sure. Why not?
Well, we still have one last bit of stuff to pitch. And that is who is going to helm this crap, Matt.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So for my crew, I've got a director, a composer, and a cinematographer.
Okay.
What do
I
you
have
have?
a director, cinematographer, and action choreographer.
All right, what do you got?
I have S.S. Rajamouli, who is a director of RRR,
Okay.
which is why I was hoping you had seen the movie.
I'm planning on getting around to it. There's a lot of stuff to watch right now.
And it's 3 hours.
Okay.
Um, there's just something about that movie that is just like it's a comic book movie. Like it is a if somebody took these freedom fighters from India's folklore
Mhm.
and was like, let's make them comic book superheroes, and that's what this movie is. Um, it is literally, well, I don't want to say that on camera. I'll tell you later. But the movie is just epic scope, fantastic action. Like even though it's 3 hours and it's one of those things where like I don't know who these characters actually are, but I can
Mhm.
totally see if these were my folklore heroes, I would have thought this is the most brilliant thing I've ever.
Hmm.
And he wrote and directed it, so I would really like to see him do something really cool with Batman Beyond and take it like not do the standard superhero thing. Take it a different direction and get into the lore, get into these characters, get into the zaniness of what this potentially could be.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking because we've been on my one of the channels I'm on. We've been watching a lot. We've been watching the trailers for this movie coming out called Brahmastra, which is kind of very fantastical take on Hindi lore. And people have been recommending RRR to us a lot because of that. So it's on, and I've seen a lot of other people talking about it. It's on my radar. It's just I got to get to it.
Yeah, it's nuts, but it's great.
So who do you have? You said you had a director, a composer, and an action choreographer.
No, I have a cinematographer and an action
Cinematographer.
choreographer. Yeah,
Who's your cinematographer?
my cinematographer is Mitchell Edmondson. He is a cinematographer for the first Transformers movie. Um,
Okay.
I just think, say what you will about those movies, they have a fantastic look.
They're well shot.
And the fact that this guy was able to somehow create epic scope of these fight scenes of crap that's not there.
Yeah.
Like you're literally like, hey, let's film this building and follow the action of a giant robot that is literally not here at this moment. But he also did like make, let's just not even lie, like he made Megan Fox look amazing. He
Yeah.
made everything look, those cars look great. Everything just looks fantastic. So I would love to see his cinematography eye on this kind of weird Akira Blade Runner world.
Okay.
Who'd you pick? Or did you not pick a cinematographer?
I did. Who's your fight coordinator? Your
This is
actor?
where I'm going to go again. His name's
Yeah.
King Solomon. He's the guy who did all the stuff for RRR.
Oh my god. All right. No, that's cool. That's cool. If you know what's going to work. So yeah, that's great.
Well,
Um.
like I said, the big thing with Terry McGinnis is you've got a guy who's wearing a cybernetic suit that allows him to do stuff beyond what Batman could ever do.
Yeah.
And there are scenes in this movie where dude, could a really strong in shape guy really like dodge and fight a tiger? Maybe, but
Yeah.
these people made me believe it, and then you can do that with Terry in his armor suit.
That's fair. I have a director, composer, and cinematographer. So the composer I have is one of my favorite ones working right now. I think he's done great stuff for comic book movies, and I really want to see him play in this kind of Blade Runner style world, and that is Junkie XL.
Okay, yeah, I like that guy.
You might know him as Tom Holkenberg. He did, so to give you an idea of some ones he's done. So he did the score for Godzilla vs. Kong, Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. He did it for he and Hans Zimmer both worked together on Batman v Superman. And actually his theme, because he's the one who came up with the theme for Wonder Woman for her that was his
Yeah.
creation. But also his Batman theme for Ben Affleck is incredible. The theme he came up with for Batman's Batman theme is fantastic. He also did the theme for the score for I believe Deadpool 2. But he's a great composer, and he's one of those guys who he does a lot of that kind of experimental, kind of futuristic sounding stuff really well. So I'd like to hear him do his take on on kind of a almost a Vangelis-esque synth score, because the theme song for Batman Beyond is one of the most metal things ever. It's so good.
Oh, yes.
It's if Wayne Static was still alive, I'd have him do the music for the movie. But because that is some Static X sounding Batman theme music from that show. So yeah, give me Junkie XL doing something like that.
No, this theme song is just, I don't know why every single Batman show has had an amazing theme. Well, I don't remember the one from Batman, Beware the Batman, but all of them, all of them have had amazing theme songs. And this one is fantastic.
I mean, it's my ringtone is the Batman Beyond theme song. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's my ringtone. It's so good. My cinematographer, again, I'm putting a heavy emphasis on the Blade Runner 2049 aesthetic for this movie. And so who better to shoot this thing than the man who won an Oscar for shooting Blade Runner 2049, easily the greatest cinematographer that ever lived, and that is Richard Deakins.
Nice.
If I can play with house money, I'm getting the big dog.
Hey, that movie looked beautiful.
Yeah. Can you believe that was his first Oscar win?
I can't. What else has he done?
Richard Deakins?
Yeah, you have to forgive me. I'm not big on cinematographers.
I'm okay. Richard Deakins is probably the greatest working cinematographer of all time. He, just to name a few, I'm going to scroll down the list here and just name a few. So, 1917, Blade Runner 2049, Sicario, Skyfall, True Grit, Revolutionary Road, The Assassination of Jesse James, No Country for Old Men, Jarhead, The Lady Killers, The Man Who Wasn't There, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, A Beautiful Mind, The Siege, The Big Lebowski, The Shawshank Redemption. Should I keep going?
I haven't watched any of those movies. No, I'm just kidding.
Bull crap. I mean, but 2049 was his first Academy Award.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
He did win for 1917 as well, which is fantastic.
How did he not get it for Sicario?
Dude, I don't know. It was one of those when I was watching the Oscars that year, because that was the year I was so sure it was going to win at least that. And they were like, "This is the first Academy Award win for Richard Deakins," and I was like, "Wait, what? What? That doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
And he's working on this new movie called Empire of Light, which looks amazing. That's coming out later this year. And then, so he's who I would have shoot this thing, because he won an Oscar for shooting a Blade Runner movie. This is Blade Runner with Batman. Why would you not get him?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And then and again, still playing in that world, I want someone who knows how to handle this kind of property. So I'm pulling out just the big dog here. I'm getting Denis Villeneuve back.
Okay.
Because Denis Villeneuve, he directed Blade Runner 2049. He directed Dune. He directed Arrival. The man he is probably my favorite working director right now. So
I think he's my favorite working director that I don't know if I like any of his movies. I like Sicario. Sentence. I liked Arrival. I liked what the conceptual things he did with some of these other movies, but I didn't care for the films. Does that make sense?
That's fair. You appreciated the artistry. The movie itself just wasn't for you.
Yeah, like to me, Dune didn't work at all. I
haven't watched it yet, so
okay. No, Dune was one of those movies that I'm like, this is neat. I could easily knock 45 minutes off this movie and not change a thing.
Sure. I'm doing a part two. No, for me, what it really came down to was his work on Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival, but mostly Blade Runner is what I was like, yeah, if I'm going to get someone to do Blade Runner Batman, let me get somebody who nailed Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Because I love Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott is my favorite director of all time. I don't want him touching Batman.
No. I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's yeah, He's done some
I
questionable stuff lately.
yeah, again, favorite director of all time is Ridley Scott, but modern Ridley Scott is not my favorite Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
So, but man, all right. An hour and a half later, and we have tackled the Batman Beyond cinematic universe, because it's going to be its own cinematic universe.
What was the joke? What is the joke I said before we started recording? You're like, they'll never make this movie. And I was like, well, they might make it. I don't know if they'll release it.
They'll never release it. Because this is all house money. If this shit was getting released like tomorrow, like it's one of those, it's like I'm making I am trying to cash a check I haven't written yet. Like
This is one of those things that they would say we're going to make it an HBO Max series, and everybody would like, that's stupid as crap, and then it would be Peacemaker. So,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, this isn't going to work. Oh, this is incredible. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Peacemaker's so good. But yeah, so I am sure if you're listening and you're a hardcore Batman Beyond fan, you hate us right now. You hate some of the things we've said. You hate our ideas. That's fine. We hate some of our ideas. They're just what we had to go on. But this was a lot of fun to pitch, because Batman Beyond is a property that is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad that we tackled this, and hopefully at some point we might see a version of a live action Batman Beyond. I'm not going to hold my breath, but this gives me hope.
I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable at this point. I mean, the fact that they've gone and made a Black Adam led movie means they're grasping at straws. I think it's a no-brainer to do a Batman Beyond movie.
I think it is too, but I've been saying that for probably 15 years now, that like this should have happened already. This should have happened already. We've had an emoji movie, but I haven't had a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah. Well, even looking at something like Miss Marvel, key into that teenage audience. Look at how popular like Rivendell and all these things are. Like, I think you could do it.
Yeah. Miss Marvel was good too. But you know what? Let us know what you would have done differently. Let us know how much we completely screwed up and ruined your favorite childhood Batman show. You can let us know that on Twitter by hitting us up on Twitter at WeAreTheBatman. You can find me at Mr. Mike Shea.
And come attack me for casting Dolph Lundgren as old Bruce Wayne at Mr. J Ninja.
I'm going to tweet at you myself for that one. And we will see you guys again next time here for another episode of We Are the Batman. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye.